So our next speaker is Dee Russel, also known as Edible D. She's the happy chef. I am so excited for this segment. For all of those that are looking to learn about cooking with cannabis, here we go. So Dee has been making adult use in medicinal edibles since 2006. In 2014, she published her first cannabis cookbook, The Happy Chef, THC, in collaboration with the hip hop artist, patient, and cannabis activist Be Real of Cypress Hill, including in his album The Prescription, as well as an unreleased track that's available as a free download if you want. That was in 2015 when legalization for medical marijuana in the state of Nevada was occurring. Dee was the executive chef opening the first licensed MMJ production kitchen in the state of Nevada in Las Vegas at that time. In 2016, Dee partnered with the Medical Cannabis Research Company, where she was helped to design their production kitchen at their headquarters in Las Vegas, and she formulated their medical product lines. Dee presently works as a cannabis consultant, helping other brands in multiple states and countries, designing their production kitchens, licensing her recipes, developing brands, formulations, compliance, and more. She helps spread awareness of the healing benefits of cannabis through her appearances on many advocate speaking panels, such as this. She's also a keynote speaker and expert in her field. Her features include, she's been featured in Forbes, Bloomberg, PR Newswire, Benzinga, Yahoo Finance, Herbco, High Times, and she's also done multiple television appearances on Netflix series Cooking on High, Snoop Dogg's Mary Jane, Smoke in the Kitchen, and Be Real TV, the National Marijuana News, and multiple other interviews. She uses her platform to educate those on the science behind cannabis edibles. She talks about proper dosing, patient referrals with choosing and making your own medicine. And if that's not enough, Dee also does a live cooking class, the Happy Chef Cannabis Cooking Series in her hometown of Las Vegas. And she also takes the classes on the road to other states and countries around the globe. So next up, Dee will be cooking for us. We're so excited for this and can't wait to see it. I wish we could try it.
Hi guys, hi there, and thank you, Carrie, for the marvelous introduction. As Carrie introduced, I am Dee, Chef Dee Russel, also known as Edible D, the Happy Chef. I am a 3-time published author of the Happy Chef Cannabis Cookbook series. Now, I have been in the industry since 2006, and oh boy, have things changed quite a bit, mainly because working in California at that time, in Prop 215 days, the labs weren't open. So the way we infuse in our formulations of how we dosed per serving for the patient has dramatically changed. So when the licenses opened, we all had to get very good, very fast. Because in the olden days, we used to mark our edibles as low, medium, high, extra strength, ×4. We put a lot of these different markings on our packaging in the earlier times, and now it's milligram doses, it's safety when you're dosing yourself, it's proper dosing, it's homogeneity. Now we have big boy lab equipment that we do terpene extractions and formulations with extracting any kind of plant terpene that has, like we see the C of A's where we see all the potencies, where before we weren't going off of those. So to piggyback off of the beautiful Dr. Sandra Carrillo, how the endocannabinoid system works with our bodies, as a chef and in my profession, I see it as, Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. Any kind of plant medicine like hemp, like CBD, like cannabis, complements our bodies naturally because it's an organic matter with our organic bodies. So same thing as a plant-based diet would be that much more beneficial for you and your medicine to work better for the patient. So I'm very, very big on promoting no processed foods, and I'm a very big advocate on adding CBD, hemp, and cannabis in your daily meals every day, because, in the dispensary, in the collectives that are out there, I work as a formulator. I have designed many different brands and for many different countries all over this country and the world. And there's things that are lacking. You know, the big sellers, as Mr. Patterson explained, was, you know, you have topicals, you have the edibles, the gummies, but that's very, you know, sugar, 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 you know, gummies, candies, rope, because that's where our industry kind of formulated, that's where we started. It was the more fun. And then now it's become a new wave of very, very focusing on plant-based ingredients, natural, safe ingredients, as well as proper dosing, which is what I go into very in depth into my cookbooks, mainly being my expert cookbook, where I go into formulations, how to properly dose yourself. I give you the exact formula of how to break down per ounces in metric system, because everything has to be formulated in metric. This is not a cups and teaspoons kind of a gig you can do when you're cooking with cannabis. When you're cooking with medicine in general, you have to convert everything to the metric system. And that allows the patients to properly dose themselves. And now with CBD's wide availability, as Mr. Patterson also said, throughout the world with legalities, you can now purchase, say, you know, like I have some CBD isolate here, and you can purchase that on various websites from different suppliers, as well as doing your diligence to make sure that the supplier is who they say they are. Another fact that Mr. Patterson mentioned, because there have been hemp hustlers, and, you know, you need to trust the product, the quality of the product, as well as, you know, the supplier and where the hemp is being grown, the cultivars who are making it. And with that, when you talk about dosing with different patients, I found that we are all different. You know, making sure it's homogeneous is one thing, but depending on what other medicines the patient is taking, that being pharmaceuticals, benzos, certain medicines actually block CBD and cannabis from doing its proper effects on our bodies. So every patient is different between their body mass, how much they've had to eat that day, how they are taking their cannabis and their CBD. All of these play a huge factor, which is another reason why I do think that taking CBD and cannabis before you eat, especially if you're doing a consumable product like my products, like edibles and tinctures, all of that. You know, tinctures act very sublingual, so you can get the effects a lot faster due to it going into your bloodstream that way. When you're inhaling cannabis, you know, you have to decarboxylate the plant at first by lighting it on fire, and then you inhale it and the smoke expands into your lungs and it gets into your bloodstream. However, edibles, it converts delta-9 or THC into 11-hydroxy THC, 11-hydroxy tetrahydrocannabinol, which that changes the compound completely. It allows it to be more medicinal. The effects are more enhanced, more heavy. It allows it to last for a longer duration of time. And this is also goes into factors of why edibles can and have had a bad reputation over our industry's reputation. It's almost everybody's had a bad edible experience. And, you know, that is why I'm very honored to have been in the industry as long as I have. And I'm even more honored to be speaking with so many great individuals that are definitely leaving their footprint and impact on our industry, making it progress and get that much better, as well as the labs making me that much better at my job. And, you know, going along with terpenes, as we were talking about before. So we have cannabinoids, which are only found in cannabis. But the miracle and magic that I find in cooking with cannabis has to do with the terpenes, because I can find different foods that also carry that terpene, and I could add it as an enhancement to the plant. So if I'm working with broad spectrum CBD products, now broad spectrum and full spectrum products have THC in it, where broad spectrum has CBD and all the terpenoids and everything else, just minus the THC. So I like to work with a broad spectrum or full spectrum, so I get the full benefits of the plants, as well as, depending on what I'm cooking with, I know how to make the medicine more enhanced. I know how to make it work better per my diet and for what I choose to cook that day. So as I'm explaining all of that, we have the recipe that I chose to cook really quick for you guys today is a recipe from my expert cannabis cookbook, The Happy Chef. And I'm using different, all plant-based. So like garlic, you have different terpenes that are in garlic that are also found in cannabis. You have your myrcene, which is found in mangoes. You have beta-caryophyllene, which is also found in garlic, which is also found in roasted red peppers, crushed red peppers. You have your tahini and your sesame. These also carry different terpenes. So your black pepper, which also has beta-caryophyllene. Now, beta-caryophyllene was a terpene that was discovered in the about 2008, I believe, and it was falsely identified as a cannabinoid, mainly because it's in everything. We literally found beta-caryophyllene in small potencies across all cannabis genetics and all the strains that we were seeing on all of our tests. So we thought it was a cannabinoid because it's in everything, but in fact, it's just one of the most highest studied terpenes on the planet because it almost has just as many healing benefits as CBD and other cannabinoids in the plant. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and like do a quick demo. So when I'm infusing anything of the plant, you always have to bind it to a fat. Everything in cannabis and CBD and hemp is not water soluble. So you have to bind it to, I say the higher the fat, the better. So coconut oil is always good. It's a nice high saturated fat. And so I have some infused coconut oil that I have, the whole bottle carries 250 milligrams in this unit. So per tablespoon, I've dosed it out to around 16 milligrams of CBD per tablespoon of in this particular batch. If you guys are out there and you guys are looking for formulas to help you dose yourself at home and cook easier at home to, because we all have diet restrictions per allergies, per preference, whether, you're gluten-free, soy-free, nut allergies, this can benefit everybody in every way, and it's quite easy to do it by yourself at home. Once you have the formula correct and you get dosing yourself. And I have formulas for all of you who wish to learn more on my website is at edibled.com. So definitely check those out. I have my books for sale there, as well as multiple recipes to help get you guys well versed and getting comfortable cooking your own medicine at home in your kitchen. So I have a food processor here that just speeds up the process. How I'm going to do it is I'm going to make my happy hummus from my cookbook, The Happy Chef. That was the collaboration I did with my good friend and patient, Russel of Cypress Hill. I was his edible chef back in the Prop 215 days before everything went Prop 64 in California. And we still work together now. It's a lot different in the edible kitchens these days. But so you take your garbanzo beans, or I guess chickpeas, people can call them in the States, and you add those into your food processor. You have your tahini or your sesame oil. This is amazing. I add a probably a good tablespoon of that. I don't know if you guys could see. I'm trying to make it like nice. All right, and then we have your roasted red peppers. I always like to add red peppers or olives or garlic, those kind of things into my hummus. And I always prefer making my hummus at home versus getting store-bought stuff because that way I can infuse it, I can make it actually even better for me, even healthier for me. And then of course, I got my black pepper, crushed red pepper, also good. And then where I had my CBD isolate, I infused into my coconut oil. I'm going to add a good tablespoon of that. All right. Gonna get a little loud here. I'm gonna mute. All right, easy breezy, and there you go. Got some roasted red pepper, cooked hummus, easy to spread on all your sandwiches. You can just eat it like as dip with cucumbers, all of that. And also terpenes are found in cucumbers. And again, it's so easy to cook for yourself at home and make your own infusions. if you are looking for a healthier alternative, and it's very beneficial because all CBD and hemp and all of cannabis products, all of terpenes, they work better with our bodies because we are organic. We are, you know, chemical. I always find synthetic doesn't work very well with organic. That's why our cannabis, we have no overdoses on cannabis. That's why that works so good with our bodies. And that's why a lot of, you know, I see a lot of issues or challenges with different patients. I almost call it chemical warfare on our bodies because they are on so many different kinds of pharmaceuticals, different kind of medicines that their bodies are not allowed to, or they're not able to process well. So I do see CBD and hemp as the future, and not just in textiles and concrete and packaging and clothing. I see it as a very healing additive to be added to cuisine everywhere. And I see it going straight into the restaurants as, you know, doing CBD infused meals from anywhere from a cafe to fine dining. And I hope to be still around for that and hopefully getting the company going that way. And maybe I'll open up one of my own. Nice. Thank you guys for having me, and it's been real.
Thank you so much, Dee. We do have a question that came in from Fernando, and he wants to know how easy is CBD to use in seasoning and spices to flavor food, and what is the recommended strength?
Recommended strength. Well, recommended strength, again, you're going to have to, it depends on the person. However, if you're just going to dose that entire unit, CBD isolate itself, even before you decarboxylate it and making it active, it has a bitter kind of taste. So just making sure you sift it really well in whichever combination of seasonings. If you're doing like maybe a garlic herb seasoning, the flavors of all the other herbs are going to be masking the CBD. You're just going to get the healing benefits of CBD that are also going to be enhanced by the garlic that you're using, because there's other terpenes in garlic. So I would definitely recommend just finely sifting perhaps, I'd say 1 full gram in a normal, you know, I do probably a normal 42 gram thing of seasoning. I'll probably do it that way, finally sift it out, and that way you'll get a good, with how many doses you can get, you probably get about 10 milligrams to 20 milligrams per meal, per dish that you're doing.
Awesome. I cannot wait to get the cookbook and try some of these recipes. Brad put into the chat your website address, so everybody go check it out, get Dee's cookbook, and let's start making some yummy, yummy meals.